Being in love with your woman is terrorizing and ruining your relationship. I'm going to explain why you cannot afford to be in love with a woman. And before I get into it, I'm going to say it's not the same as simply loving a woman or loving your woman. Being in love is quite different because when you cross over into this realm of now you're in love with a woman, this is very dangerous territory. It's so dangerous because as a man, what you start doing is you start allowing more disrespect than you would normally would. You will allow her not to sleep with you as much as you want or put up with not having any bedroom fun with her at all just because you're in love with her. You start allowing too many things to go on that you don't even want, that you don't like, that you don't respect, and it's all because you're in love. I see too many men in relationships that really suffer more than anything. And if you're a guy in this relationship and you're watching this can be normal relationship, this can be marriage. I know what you're dealing with because I've been married before. I've been in a serious relationship. I know what you're dealing with that you're too afraid to speak on. You don't know who to talk about. And I'm going to tell you right now, you have to change your mindset about love and what that means to you. So that way, at least if you want to stay in a relationship, you have no choice but to get out of love with her and just how to learn how to love her the right way without being in love, because you can only have your masculine tendencies when you're not in love. When you're in love, it's like your testosterone just goes down. And if your testosterone goes down, that means you are going to exhibit less masculine traits. If you are exhibiting less masculine traits the longer the relationship goes on, your woman is obviously going to be less attracted to you. Also, when you are less masculine, your woman is going to respect you at a lower level because women ultimately respect the most masculine men. And the reason for that is most masculine men possess qualities that women wish they had or wish they were stronger in, like confidence. Confidence is that's one thing. Confidence is something that women wish they had more of. This is why when they see a guy that they think is cocky or arrogant, they make a point to point out how they do not like that, but ultimately they do wish they had at least a certain amount of confidence in them. That is more of a masculine trait, to have a really, really high level of confidence. And most men that are falling in love, they lose a lot of their confidence over time and they start putting up with different forms of verbal abuse, emotional abuse from the woman. And then if they ever wanted to leave, what they'll tell themselves, I've done the same thing before, is, man, but I love her. But I love her though. How many times have you ever heard somebody talk about something going on in a relationship and they won't leave though? And then the main thing you most hear people say, and this happens a lot with women, in this, but I love them. When you are at this state where you're a man and the reason that you can't do anything about your relationship is because you love her, you are weak. You're weak at this point because now the woman can sense that, man. She can sense that this guy's so in love with me, I could practically get away with anything. Have you ever wondered how, as you're longer into a relationship, women try bolder things? It seems like they test you more. They may become more disrespectful over time. They may get on your nerves a lot more. It's because the more that you let just slide and let them get away with without checking and understanding how to deal with them in a masculine way, they're going to lose respect. And then they're going to also see, well, I pretty much have control over this guy because no matter what I do, he's going to stay with me. And that's the most dangerous thing you could ever do, is let a woman feel like I can literally do anything to him or around him and he's going to stay no matter what. Now, I get it if you get married and you take vows that say that you're going to stay with them no matter what. However, even as a man, you have to know how to impose certain levels of expectations upon them verbally. You have to verbally put out expectations of the woman that you're with so they understand that, hey, I will stay with you under these conditions. And this is the scariest part for most men. Most men cannot put conditions on their woman. They can't verbally express them. And that's the bad part. People get into relationships thinking of all these requirements that they have in order to stay in a relationship. The funny part is most people don't outright come together and discuss what those are and tell the person what you're expecting and this is what you acquire in order to stay in the relationship long term. People don't say that to each other, and it's wrong. It's so wrong, because now when somebody messes up, how can they mess up when you're just assuming you're supposed to know that? Like, even the simple thing like monogamy in a relationship, most people don't really come together and say, hey, I expect you not to sleep with anyone anymore, even when you get married. I know it's supposed to be an insinuated rule, but I believe most people should even say, hey, after we get married, these are the type of things I consider as no-goes for our marriage. If you're flirting with a certain guy on Facebook or through text messages or anything like that, after we get married, I'm going to see that as cheating, and I could terminate our marriage if I see anything like that. I want you to know that that's something, is a boundary for me that I would like for you to respect. People can't, most guys don't have the balls to say it, because once you're in love, you don't even think to say logical stuff. That's the dangers of it. Once you're in love, you're out of logic. And that's the worst thing ever, because most men operate on logic, not emotion. And love is categorized as an emotion, which is then, wouldn't that be more of a feminine thing to operate out of emotion, operate out of just being in love? And yes, like I said, you can love a woman. For instance, I love my ex-wife, but she had to go. There's some things I can't put up with it. I don't care if I love you. You violated certain things for a relationship, or you're not meeting what I expected, and I voiced that opinion, and you still can choose whatever you want. But hey, me being in love doesn't mean this relationship is going to last the same way forever. So yeah, that had to end. That had to end, but I still love her, yes. So that's what I want you guys to know, is like, yeah, you can love whoever you want, but be careful of falling in love, falling deep in love with one, because like I said, when you're in love, you're out of logic. And men, we are strongest when we're in logic. You're in your most masculine when you are in logic and in control of your emotions. So being in control of your emotions means, hey, I can love her, but I'm not going to let that thought or that feeling of love run everything. I'll treat her well. I will treat her with respect. But if she's disrespecting me, technically, is she really showing me love if she's disrespecting me and she's blatantly doing it? That's why you have to go ahead and put boundaries out there in the open, so that she knows what is something that is disrespectful. She knows what's a violation of her love. Like, her love is, like, her love for you is being violated if she does these certain things. You have to start with not being afraid of your woman. Men that fall in love with a woman start being so afraid of their woman. If you're living with the woman and you're in love with her, she starts running the house. And you know why? As soon as you fall in love, like I said, your masculinity, your testosterone starts coming down. And guess what happens? It's a natural balance. Hers starts coming up because she sees she has to start taking over some of the masculine role, because you're refusing to do so. You're giving everything over to her because you're in love. You're too scared of her, meaning you're too scared of everything you say and do will end the relationship. And if you're at that level, that means that person actually isn't for you. If everything you say and do can end the relationship, that means that y'all aren't actually a match like you thought they were. You were just, you, most of the time you were fueled by lust, and that's how you got into the relationship. And you said, well, since they're consistently giving me some, and things are happening right now, they're real cool, you're in the honeymoon phase, you say, I'll stay with this woman. And then you start falling in love. As soon as you start falling in love, the relationship starts to deteriorate. Tell me if I'm wrong. If you're in a relationship right now, I know what you're going through. You're going through it, especially if you've been in one that lasts for at least 6 months or more. You have noticed the more you fall in love with that woman, the less exciting all of this has actually become. You actually will notice she's taking most of the power in a relationship, and you feel weak, you feel powerless, and you don't know how to leave, when to leave, if you should, or how to stay, because you can still stay, but you got to regain your power. You got to regain your masculinity. We'll talk about that in another video.